So every year before I get started with spring lawn applications in my lawn care program as a lawn care business owner, I like to go ahead and take it upon myself to calibrate my skid sprayer. In today's video, we're going to be talking about just that, step by step, how to calibrate your skid sprayer. The most important thing you can do for your lawn care business, because if you're not spraying out enough, you're not going to get the desired effect you want. If you're spraying out too much, it's going to eat into your margins. So it's important to get an idea of how much is going out so you can adjust accordingly to make sure that you get that fertilizer on the lawns efficiently. Everything in this video is going to pertain to those who own skid sprayers. It's regular skid sprayers and space saver skid sprayers, really anything that has a big tank, a pump, motor, or an engine, and a hose reel. That's the type of equipment we are talking about in today's calibration video. Now, principles remain the same. However, today, if you're looking to be a little more interactive with this video, all of the calibration tips are going to apply to those with skid sprayers. Personally, in my opinion, these are my favorite sprayers to calibrate because it is by far one of the easiest pieces of equipment that you can calibrate to yourself, and you can also make easy minor adjustments in the field if you want to up the rate a little bit or walk a little slower, swing a little wider. The world is your oyster with that, as you're going to see in today's video. One of the first things I like to do with a skid sprayer, especially if it hasn't been used all winter, is I want to go ahead and bleed the line, right? There hasn't been any fluid through there in a while. Of course, if you live where I do, run antifreeze through your pump when you winterize it to make sure that no water or fluid freezes in there. That can create a lot of costly damage that we don't want to deal with if you don't have a heated shop, or really if you do, just do it to be safe. Once we get water in there though, we want to bleed it through the line, because one of the things that happens when we're talking about 300 feet of hose is it's very easy for water or fluids and air and all of that to get caught up in the line with the water. So you're going to get a little bit of it's going to be intermittent ebbs and flows coming out of there. That's not going to be very helpful when we're trying to calibrate how much is coming out steady, right? So you want to bleed the line until it's straight water coming out of there at the same constant output. We don't want any variation whatsoever. So once you've gone ahead and done that, you want to go ahead and map out the area that you are going to be calibrating your sprayer on. This is the backbone of the whole thing. So what you want to do is you want to map out 1,000 square feet. At my shop here, I was able to take this 1,000 square foot plot of gravel. I measured out 25 feet by 40 feet. That's as close to a square as at least I could figure to get for 1,000 square feet, because everything in lawn care is done in 1,000 square foot increments. Once I've mapped that out, now I'm going to go ahead and begin my walk test, right? This is what makes or breaks the whole thing. And honestly, this is my favorite part of operating a skid sprayer, because again, you can calibrate it to yourself or your techs very, very easy. Now, one thing I will note, the drawback to this is every spray tech is different. Some have wide strides, some have narrow strides, some walk fast, some walk slow. When you do this, do it with whatever tech is going to be operating that truck, right? Not every tech is the same. Not every calibration can always correlate from one tech to the other. So that's very important to note, right? It could take you 2 minutes, could take your other guy 1:30. So something to be very, very mindful of. Now, another thing I want to note while I'm here is the width of my spray pattern. There are a couple of different ways you can do this, but for purposes of this video, every pass is about 8 feet wide, 4 feet out on both sides, so you have 8 feet total with a little bit of overlap. You don't necessarily want to do tip to tip. You risk striping if you miss an area. So if you have a little overlap, that's going to help you out there. In this case, that's fine because we have 25 feet, so every pass being 8 feet, it's easy to do a little overlap on 3 passes of 8. And once I have my spray width figured out, in this case for this video, we're going to keep it simple at 8 feet wide. I went ahead and walked that area in 3 passes. 8 times 3 is 24, but there's a little overlap, so we're covering the 25. Not a big issue there. Might swing a little excess, so there might be a little bit of overlap, but not a big deal. We actually want overlap between the passes to avoid striping. We walk up 1 pass, down another, and down another. And we do that 3 times to see what we get. Based on my data and my walking speed when I am spraying, I was able to effectively cover 1,000 square feet in 25 seconds at 8 feet each pass for 3 passes. That is what I came up with. Now, this is where it gets really fun, because we're actually going to, again, personalize the sprayer to our walking speed and our swinging width. At this point, we've gotten the walking data. In my case, it's 25 seconds for 1,000 square square feet. So now we need to go ahead and do a bucket test. So a bucket test is where you take the spray wand and you stick it into the bucket, and you essentially want to get however much mix you have coming out per 1,000 square feet in that same amount of time it took you to cover that area. And you're going to do that 3 times as well. So in my case with skid sprayers, I believe this is the industry standard, but it also seems to work really well through trial in my lawn care business, and that's 1.5 gallons of product coming out per 1,000 square feet. So in my case, again, revisiting the math, that means that for every 1,000 square feet, I need to spray out 1.5 gallons in 25 seconds over 1,000 square feet, and that is my walking speed and spray width. It could vary depending on yours, but for me, that is mine. So essentially what I have to do is I have to bleed it through the bucket, and I actually have to make adjustments if it's not coming out enough or if it's coming out too much. There's a couple of ways to do this. The first way is the engine RPMs. If you're running a gas-powered skid sprayer, a lot of them come with these Honda GX 160s, and you can actually adjust the RPMs on them with the hand dial. You can move it toward the rabbit for fast. You can move it toward the turtle for slow. Me personally, I like to run mine at a very high RPM, so I adjust that a little bit first if I want to get more product flowing through there without sacrificing agitation. I like to have a lot of product coming out very quickly because I'm a fast walker, but I also want to maintain adequate agitation while the truck is parked, especially if I have a lot of stops where the truck is going to sit for a prolonged period of time, large stops. We want to keep that product in suspension, if you will. Speaking of agitation, there's another way you can adjust the output, and this actually changes the amount of agitation happening inside of the tank. Now, this isn't something you have to overcomplicate. It's actually very simple. Every skid sprayer has this, and it's actually called a pressure relief valve. I'm showing you a video clip of what it looks like here, and it's got a pressure gauge. Essentially, the way it works is when you turn the nozzle or the dial one way, the pressure is going to go up. That indicates more fluid is being sent to your hose reel, while less fluid is being sent to your tank. Whereas if you dial it the other way, you're bringing the pressure down, which means you're actually sending more product back into your tank to then agitate it, whereas you're sending less to your hose reel, if that makes sense. It's essentially an inverse effect. One goes up while the other goes down. You just kind of have to play around with it and find that happy medium. Again, for me, based on my walking speed, you have to test your walking speed. Use your natural walking speed. Try not to match this, please. Just see how long it takes you. Everybody's different. But in my case, that's just under 100 PSI with the RPMs jacked all the way up. And I got like a 4 to 7 gallon per minute nozzle on there to accommodate the high output in case I want to swing a little wider when I'm in the field, but that's another video for another time. For now, 8-foot passes with a little bit of overlap on the sides to avoid the striping. So one bonus tip I would like to give you guys, and I'm probably going to touch more on this in the upcoming videos where we get out in the field and we do our first application of the season. Let's say maybe you're like me and you're on a liquid program. The cool thing about a lot of the liquids that I use from Green County Fertilizer is they actually blend them in a way so you don't have to put out as much nitrogen on, say, your returning customers. Whereas new customers, on the other hand, maybe you want to give them a little bit more. Well, there's a simple way to do that without having to change your mix back and forth as your clients come in and interweave into your route, and that is the speed at which you swing the wand. In the video here, I'm going to show you a couple, one of which I like to do when I'm doing my revisits. I like to swing it really fast as I'm walking because that way I maintain the application rate I mixed for, and it's not going to over-deliver too much product and actually save me a little bit of money in the long run because some of these lawns really don't need the extra product, whereas the brand new ones that might be a little thin or patchy, or maybe an existing client that has a shady area that's struggling, what I'll do then effectively without having to really change anything is I'll go ahead and slow down the speed at which I am waving the wand. So while I'm doing this, I'm allowing more time for those droplets to continue falling onto those areas as I'm walking. Now mind you, I'm not going too slow to the point where I'm making like streaks, but I'm definitely going noticeably slower in areas that need a little bit more help or full properties that need a little more help. up, whereas the properties that look good, I'm swinging the wand a little bit faster. A little bit of a pro tip there. Gonna get into that in a future video, but I figured it was worth noting here as it does relate to calibration in the springtime when you're blanket spraying fertilizers at a conservative rate along with split applications of prodiamine. So once all that's dialed in, we are ready to start the season, which we are going to be talking about in future videos. So if you haven't seen them, subscribe to the channel. See you later.